In the high desert of southeastern Oregon lies a piece of Americana known as Willow Creek. It's located in Malheur County, the second largest county in the state. The families of Willow Creek have been farming and ranching in this area for over 125 years. The Willow Creek drainage includes more than 32,000 acres of irrigated farmland and 10,000 plus acres of dry upland range. Runoff from winter snow and spring rains is essential to farming and ranching in the area. The North Fork of the Malheur River and the Beulah Reservoir provide much of the water needed for these operations in Malheur County. Beulah Reservoir is also crucial to the survival of local wildlife, migratory birds, the endangered bull trout, and other species. Willow Creek is part of the Malheur River tributary system, which feeds the Snake River.
We've passed resolutions in support of restoration efforts in the entire Malheur River Basin. So we've supported the Willow Creek, we've done other Forest Service restoration projects. From the whole watershed perspective, the Burns Paiute tribe works from the top to the bottom and wants to continue to work with groups such as the Willow Creek to continue to do those projects.
This story begins in the late 1990s when the Department of Environmental Quality evaluated the Malheur watershed. The study, which included Willow Creek, found that the district had excessive amounts of both nutrients and E. coli, resulting in a DEQ 303D listing. The residents of Willow Creek took a proactive stance and formed a task force to evaluate the situation and implement changes for restoring the lower Willow Creek drainage.
Well, they had a vision going into it, and they were able to sew together all the partners, and they raised their assessments in-house. So that, I mean, they were putting their own funding in, but they were able to reach out to different partners and accomplish their goals of conserving water and improving water quality in Willow Creek.
When we look at water quality and conservation, they really do dovetail together very nicely. A lot of the reasons that this work was created is to improve water quality, but one of the best ways to improve water quality is to just make sure that the water is not leaving its intended purpose. And that creates a much more efficient system as well. When we're not running nutrients and water off into the stream system, when we're holding it in place, we're much more efficient with our inputs, in addition to just simply not letting our soil and phosphorus get away.
Willow Creek is home to Oregon's second largest concentration of beef cattle. Beef from these operations is shipped worldwide and is highly regarded for its quality. Willow Creek is also home to a significant number of generational family farms and ranches, which fuel the economies of local towns, including Vail and Ontario. Because of the DEQ's 303D listing, the residents of Lower Willow Creek started educational forums and instituted best management practices for local landowners. They also instituted safe water monitoring programs, eliminated tail watering from irrigated fields, and began repairing and restoring riparian areas on the creek, its tributaries, and local wetlands. Cattle operations instituted best management practices, and they fenced off access to Willow Creek and other fragile wetland areas. When the ground is damaged, they reseed it with desirable habitat and forage plants, and the local wildlife is benefiting. Willow Creek ranchers have provided watering systems for cattle and local wildlife that are both efficient and environmentally sound. They've implemented fenced open land pastures to rotate stock, which prevents overgrazing and eliminates erosion. The ranchers have also controlled runoff from feeding lots, stopping a substantial amount of E. coli from entering Willow Creek and other feeder streams and wetlands. The farming community is doing its part as well. Willow Creek farmers implemented a multifaceted operation to reduce irrigation water loss by improving delivery methods. They installed pump-action water reclamation systems and settling ponds that recycle irrigation water instead of letting it run into the creek and other tributaries. The farmers also encouraged the use of polyacrylamide, or PAM, a water-soluble agent that attracts and binds waterborne soil to prevent it from exiting the fields. Willow Creek farmers have been highly successful in encouraging the use of center pivot and other types of sprinkler systems that are 70% more efficient than traditional siphon delivery systems. The use of sprinkler systems virtually eliminates water erosion and runoff into Willow Creek, but they're very costly to purchase and install. Despite the expense of sprinkler systems, installations have increased 30-fold, from 3 to over 90, and the installations continue. Many farmers use drip irrigation on crops that are not disturbed during the growing season. Drip irrigation maximizes water usage and increases production significantly with the right crops, but it can only be used for a single season. At this time, drip irrigation is economically unfeasible for most applications.
Drip irrigation has enabled growers to experience about 1/3 more per acre production of onions on just over half the water and about half of the nitrogen inputs. It's been tremendous. The one thing that when you enjoy success like that with one crop, growers want to learn more about what they can do in other crops. And to that end, we're seeing more work being done with drip irrigation, shallow planted drip in corn and in mint, and those are really starting to expand greatly in this region.
By far the most invasive and costly improvement has been the piping of water delivery systems. By piping small canals and laterals, water evaporation, runoff, and erosion have been significantly reduced. With these improvements, the Willow Creek Group has been able to extend their water season significantly, even during low water years. In the ongoing drought that's ravaging the western United States, the effects of the Willow Creek water conservation improvements are self-evident. Other irrigation districts are now starting to implement the same practices because the Willow Creek Group has proven that these strategies work and that they're environmentally sound.
I think one of the really unique things about the Willow Creek area is people are planning. I mean, steps are happening today. People are doing this on the ground. They're making these investments. They're making these improvements in their water supply. And I think that really stands as an example that we can do this. It's not just something that we need to be doing sometime in the future. We need to start doing these things now. And I think, again, the people working on this effort, I think, stand as a great example for other communities to be thinking about making some investments today.
In average water years, the water savings will substantially improve winter habitat at Beulah Reservoir for endangered bull trout by providing a larger pool. In bad water years, these conservation techniques will help Willow Creek residents extend the water season by as much as 2 to 4 weeks and still leave a large enough pool in the reservoir to sustain not only the bull trout, but other wildlife and migrating birds through the fall and winter. The work and successes of the Willow Creek Group have not gone unnoticed. Other watersheds in the region are beginning their own efforts to improve their systems by using information garnered by the Willow Creek Group. The Willow Creek Group has been awarded many local, state, federal, and international awards for the design and implementation of improvements that are applicable to arid regions throughout the world.
One thing we have seen that we've had a lot of below normal water years recently, and with the water conservation that they've achieved there, it certainly helps them get through the irrigation season in a lot better shape, stretching their limited water supplies into longer into the season and getting better crops because of that.
When we think about climate change and a viable agricultural economy into the future, we certainly need to be thinking about how it's going to be affecting water supplies. The other thing we need to be thinking about, though, is that as we move into a warmer climate, our crops are going to need more water. So as we think about how do we manage that demand, the role of agricultural water efficiency really becomes an important variable in controlling demand. We've done some studies in the Northwest where we've even looking at the most extreme climate scenarios and how much more water the crops will need, that can be mitigated and even stabilize that demand despite the warming just through investments in efficiency. So these things are really critical to adapting to climate change.
The economic impact of the Willow Creek project has benefited hundreds of people and businesses. One byproduct of improving and cleaning up the watershed is jobs creation. These jobs include manufacturing and installing miles of buried pipe and related products, and building and installing one of the largest concentrations of center pivot irrigation systems in a community the size of Willow Creek. What kind of economic impact have you seen on your business?
You know, as the pipelines go in and these farmers that are out in this area, they're trying to make more efficient their operations. And the pipeline itself has encouraged that because mechanized irrigation like pivots are able to be installed without pumps, without some of the other ancillary installation that's required, and it makes it more economical and feasible.
Great. How about jobs-wise in your company? Have you had to hire?
We have over the past 3 years, we've basically gone from 4 people in our business. We're currently at about 17.
Wow, it's a big jump.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you figure miles and miles and miles and 20 feet at a time, it takes a lot of bodies to put that together, and that's where it's really made an economic impact in terms of installation. Trenches don't dig themselves, pipe needs to be laid, pivots need to be assembled. There's been a huge creation of, there's been a need for people to come in and make these installations, and all that has been sourced locally.
The example of Willow Creek is one that other arid areas of the western United States and other parts of the globe can follow, not only to preserve their environment, but to preserve and manage that most precious commodity of all, water. Come on.
So west-wide, when we think about the importance of snowpack for irrigation and losing that under climate change, the Willow Creek project, I think, provides a really good example for other communities to be thinking about how they can be increasing their efficiency and really increasing their system resilience as we move forward into a much less certain future.
The accomplishments of the Willow Creek Group have proven that resourceful and motivated people can choose innovation and tenacity over the status quo. The farmers and ranchers of Willow Creek have improved their water quality. They've reduced the amount of E. coli, phosphorus, unwanted nutrients, and sediment flowing into the drainage. And they've dramatically improved the efficiency of their water system's distribution and use. Results of the Willow Creek project are impressive. Over 12,000 acres have been converted from flood to sprinkler. Over 100 miles of pipe have been installed, and over 35,000 acres are now irrigated through piped laterals. Environmental benefits include 124,320 pounds of phosphorus prevented from entering the watershed annually, and 240,000 tons of annual soil loss has been eliminated. Energy conservation includes saving over 4.8 million kilowatt hours of electricity, and over 36,000 gallons of diesel fuel is preserved per year. Water conservation and management has been drastically improved, and the Beulah Reservoir's minimum pool requirements are achieved each year. Finally, the economic impact to Eastern Oregon has exceeded $20 million. The choice of being proactive and the willingness to change has begun a new era in modern watershed management and brought farming and ranching in Willow Creek into compliance with mandated state and federal law. The Willow Creek Group continues to seek improvements to the watershed and continually makes adjustments to the delivery system. The Western farming and ranching lifestyle has been under fire for many past abuses. It's taken a number of hardy families willing to save that lifestyle by going above and beyond simply correcting a problem. The people of Willow Creek have literally changed the face of their industry for the better and helped preserve a lifestyle that's an important part of American history.